I wanted to talk a little bit about the relationship between integrating cognitive behavioral therapy and yoga or yoga therapy. So first of all, CBT is one of the most prevalent treatments for various mental health conditions, from depression and anxiety to PTSD, where often it's modified, so there's a trauma-focused version. And Minded feels like there is such an enormous potential for yoga to play a role in this very prevalent treatment by having some of the yoga practices integrated into it. Now, there have already been a few studies in the past which have focused on the value of yoga and CBT. The oldest one that I can think of is Granaf, which showed that enriching yoga with CBT enhanced the CBT. There was also a study published in 2020 by Shapiro looking at yoga versus CBT for generalized anxiety disorder. So this was a comparison, and yoga showed up almost as good. And then finally, there was a really interesting paper that was published this year by Melisa O'Shea. Now, before I get into that, I just want to say that because we really recognize the huge value of integrating yoga into CBT, we have a training that is being run by Veena U. Gargle, who specializes in CBT, and Dr. Samantha Patel, who is a clinical psychologist focusing on how people working with CBT can bring in yoga, right? So another study by Melisa O'Shea relatively recently looked at whether or not yoga had the potential, again, to enhance CBT. So if you want to look it up, really long name, it is a preferential pragmatic trial of therapeutic yoga as an adjunct for group cognitive behavioral therapy versus CBT alone for depression and anxiety. Oh, I didn't think I would remember all of it, but I did. Points for me, okay. Anyway, in this study, they found that individuals who had CBT and therapeutic yoga had greater reductions in depression and anxiety, had faster reductions in depression, and in a 3-month follow-up also had more sustained positive gains. In other words, the depression and anxiety continued to lower and remained at lower levels. So I think for the entire yoga community, this is a great opportunity for there to be a movement of yoga into such a prevalent therapy. And then, of course, people who recognize its value might move into yoga classes and yoga therapy, etc. And for the therapeutic community, at a time where there's such a huge mental health crisis, to be able to offer something alongside that's going to be even more efficacious. Please join us in the training. Check out the articles. Namaste.